a lot of what we see today are men who are anima possessed, and that's not the same as integrating the anima. If the anima has the
How do you
man, I mean, he
see
has no.
anima possessed today? What is
Well,
that?
it plays up with all kinds of ways, but being the sort of worst example would be, let's say, the man who never frees himself from the mother complex, and this is how it would be. The anima would be um, warped through the mother problem not being dealt with, and that's where you get this sort of colloquial image of the 40-year-old in the mother's basement, never having had a relationship, but then has all these porno subscriptions and is constantly daydreaming or masturbating, where he's
So
stunted.
he's to some degree still in the child archetype.
The mother complex has him, the mother demon. That's the overbearing mother, where you can't go out into the world. And then his anima is also tied in with that, where it's just he's stuck in that adolescent phase where when the anima possesses him with these erotic fantasies, it pulls him out of his own masculine potency, because he's just daydreaming. It's daydreaming all the time of this erotic quality, and that's not the same as integrating eros or actually having to step out of fantasy and into reality. And that's the part of the problem with the pornographic situation that we have now, and then also OnlyFans as well, because it feeds into the immature anima problem of man, and then women play up the anima in themselves, like women who are like happy to just milk that, but that means that women who do that also don't have a ground in their own feminine identity, because they're playing up an immature adolescent feminine image based on the immature psyche of the collective man at large, or something like that. They easily get taken into moods, and it's funny because women can get taken by the moody artist types, like, oh, he's so sensitive. But actually, men who have this so-called sensitivity, they're actually not sensitive enough to really be sensitive would be to catch the anima and then to relate to her. But they're getting possessed by her. And in that way, they're
Well,
not even
it's more
related
like
to
an outer
life.
sensitivity, right? To like,
Well, it's they're not conscious. They're not conscious. So they get taken by a mood and they become moody. But they don't see that they're not in themselves right now. And this is the thing where, like, and part of the red pill stuff and what the men are commenting is like, well, women say they want a sensitive man, but when a man is sensitive, then they attack it or shame it, or they don't want to hear it. And what's going on here is a few different things going on, but one of them is women may not be conscious of it, but they will negatively react to a man who is anima possessed. And for most men, that the work of the anima problem is it requires quite a bit of sensitivity in the man to work out the anima problem. And so in the beginning, it's really easy for them to get caught by her in terms of the emotional fits. And so there's a difference between, I'm connected enough to my interior realm where I can really relate to my feeling nature. But being possessed by the anima into an emotional mood or reactivity is not the same as actually relating to the feeling. In fact, those sorts of things take you away from really relating. It's like you get taken by a depressive mood rather than going deeper and going, okay, why am I really unsatisfied? And once you get closer, and then you can dig into it and you go, oh, okay, there's some grief here, or like maybe there's a deeper trauma or something, and that would be actually relating to the feeling. Or it would be seeing that the anima is playing out the succubus thing, and she's just like, I want to take you out of your life. I want to take away all your power. I want to grab you by the balls, so to speak. And so it just
and so
takes
that's
him out of.
internally like his a man's emotions are kind of playing that role. Is that kind of the idea there?
Yeah. And it's not a mature emotionality. It's a deception. It's if we go to the Eastern realm, it's Shiva Shakti, and the shadow of Shakti is that she's the temptress. She's testing consciousness. She's like, oh yeah, can you get hooked into I'm doing my sexy girl thing. Yeah, you're gonna fall for it. Oh yeah, here's an emotional mood. Oh, but it seems so real. It's so real, isn't it? And so the shadow of the feminine is always being sucked into this fantasy of life, but it isn't real. There's no truth there. There's no objectivity there.
And
And
so
that's not
having
the
that
same
inner
as.
state will you'll be more likely to go, get hooked on OnlyFans or meet up with sort of toxic but exciting women, that kind of thing, because the
Yes,
state's in
yes.
you So then it manifests out there, right? That's
You pick it unconsciously and you resonate with it. And so this is also the problem with, let's say, the manosphere or the red pill stuff, is that they're pointing out things that there are general truths and trends about the state of affairs in terms of the immature expression of women collectively and the immature expression of men collectively and all of this. But there's still the reality when we bring it, and this would be part of them integrating their own anima to even have this insight, which would be like, why am I specifically hooked on women like this? And it's always a freaking anima problem. And so it's like, why did you pick a woman who ended up, she was, oh yeah, it's like the Lilith, the shadow Lilith archetype, where she was, great in bed, but she was just nuts. And you found
yeah,
out that she'd been in an asylum. It's like, you didn't just, it's not just that Western women are crazy. It's like you picked that
yeah,
because you're always, and that's actually what it really means and it's what's funny about this is I see all these men, they go, all these women are not wanting to take responsibility, and I'm like, yeah, but you're also not taking responsibility for your own possession. And
yeah.
so this is the quarreling between the sexes, and if we tap
I
into,
think at the deeper, more intellectual red pill stuff, there's a lot of focus on that actually. But in the more
mm,
popular stuff that gets the most traction on YouTube and everywhere else, it's like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah,
look at these OnlyFans girls and look at how stupid they are and they're so ridiculous
mm-hmm,
expectations, blah, blah, blah. But at the
mm-hmm.
deeper core of at least some of it, there is very much like, well, what are you going to do about it? You can't change these laws, and maybe you can, and maybe there'll be some progress. But ultimately, like you say, it's it's in you. What can you do to protect yourself or live righteously or not attract bad people or whatever.
And there's a development here because let's say whatever the jewel of that red pill movement is, how it's helping men is it's helping them step into masculine clarity and solidifying themselves in their masculinity, and that's actually a necessary prerequisite to what would then be a more mature or the later phase of true integration of the anima and the animus. And it's the same thing with the feminine psyche, where the negative animus can really feed off of the woman's energy when she's out of her own feminine essence.
That was a clip from my recent interview with Risa on the Anima and the Animus. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like on the video and consider checking out the full interview, which you can find over here.